Okay, number four. Number four gets a little more complicated. So we're going to do a scatter chart and compute the sample correlation coefficient to explore the relationship between time spent on the website and the dollar amount spent. It also says use the horizontal axis for time spent on the website. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we have your data. Now, the first thing that you'll have to do is get your columns side by side. So my recommendation is to copy this to a new tab. And the two variables that we're mostly concerned with, you can take this page as viewed out because we're looking at time and amount spent. Okay, now that these two are side by side, you can go ahead, let's highlight them. Now notice when you highlight if you're going to include the title or not. We'll go to insert. We can do scatter plot. It's right here. And then click on a scatter plot. Okay, so you want to change your heading as before. Something like this. Okay. Now it does say to use the horizontal axis for the time spent. So we have our time spent down at the bottom. Our vertical axis is the amount, the total dollar spent. Here's your scatter plot. Now what you can also do with this is if you right click, add your data labels or add a trend line. Now if you don't see this, let me come back out, click on one of the dots and that should pop up. Then you can hit add trend line. And you can format your trend line. I want a solid line. I'd like for it to be red and not be dashes, but a solid line. Maybe even make it a little heavier so it stands out. And there you go. Now you also may notice that if you click in your axis, your X or Y axis, you can do some formatting down here as well. So let's format this. Here we go, format axis. And the only thing that I would see down here would be the number. You could remove the decimal places because we don't need them. Okay, and then you'll notice that that takes that away. The same here. We can format the axis, come down to number, and take that away. It just cleans things up a little bit nicer. Now this gives you your trend line. It lets you see your scatter plot. It doesn't necessarily tell you much about like the strength of the correlation or the strength of the relationship. So I want to show you something different with this. And that would be a Pearson correlation. Now, if we go up to data, see if you have this data analysis tool pack right here. If you don't, go to File, Options, Add-ins, and then you'll see Analysis Tool Pack. So click on that and you can hit go, you can hit OK, whatever it is you need to do to make sure that it's on there. Mine's already there, so I'm going to hit cancel. Okay, once you have that, hit Data Analysis and Correlation. There we go. Now, let's take this out because you can see it's not grabbing all of the information. Let's put these two together. Again, side by side. I am including the labels in first row, so I want to make sure that box is checked. And then I'll hit OK. All right. Now this gives us a correlation table, and it's basically a one-to-one correlation. So you can see time, and time is a 1. 1 is the strongest relationship that there is. Well, that should be a strong relationship because it's basically looking at time with itself, time. Amount spent with, here we go, amount spent with time. This is the one that we're really looking at. And to know the strength of this relationship, we need to understand the Pearson correlation coefficient or the Cohen's relationship. So let's pull this up real quick. Okay, so if you look this up, it basically tells you these are the parameters for the strength of a relationship. And ours is above 0.5. Meaning it's a large relationship. I consider that a strong relationship between the amount of time spent on a website and the dollar amount spent. So in this, with question number 4, then now you can discuss your findings. So include some of these tables, some of the graphs, and then discuss your findings. And we will move on to number 5.